The surgery was done completely fine.
You know why my immune system's so strong? They let me lick the Walmart floor when I was little.
Oh, gross.
Basically, all the doctors who were there come together. We pulled the ultrasound and she had free fluid in her abdomen.
Because, like, I could tell the mom was grieving one way. Like, she wanted to talk about it, and then the dad didn't want to talk about it, and he just looked so sad.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Veterinary Roundtable, the podcast where we answer your veterinary-related questions while having some fun along the way. If you enjoyed today's episodes or a previous episode, be sure to leave us a review on your podcast provider of choice. And if you have any feedback to improve the Veterinary Roundtable, let us know. Did anyone realize King's not here, if you're just listening?
They may have realized
are
it.
a
We
little
just got
different.
started.
All righty. Reviews looks like on Spotify we're at 326, previously at
Whoa.
320.
Whoa.
Damn.
Take
And
the
then
reins.
Spotify is really pulling through because Apple was only up by 1. We're now at 126, previously 125.
But we're not going negative, so that's good.
No.
How do
And
you
we
know?
still gained on both.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's possible to go negative. People can delete their comments, right?
I guess that's true. That would be rude.
That would be kind of funny when we're like, wait a minute. We
Next
have
week is at
0.
120.
Well,
No, 6. I feel good about 6 in a week. on
Yeah,
Spotify.
And our goal on Spotify is 500, and then we're going to do something else, right?
yeah, but when we get closer, we're going to decide it and
Yes.
have the filming or whatever date set.
Yes.
So we
No
can
delays.
deliver
timely
quicker
on
than
that.
last
No
time.
delays for the people.
Yes.
Well, it's
no
difficult 'cause
excuses.
all 4 of us have different schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll just be better.
We'll figure
Yeah, we got to be better.
Yeah.
We will improve.
Yes, we will.
Follow us at the Veterinary Roundtable.
Tyndall.
What'd you just say? The Veterinary
Oh, I thought you
Roundtable.
said the wrong.
Our name.
Roundtable.
That too, I guess. Instagram and TikTok. And then we have a YouTube channel where all the video podcasts will be published going forward at the Veterinary Roundtable on YouTube.
If
So,
you want to see our beautiful faces.
yeah, I mean,
Beautiful.
and our red scrubs and us sitting differently and having our socks out. Sometimes we don't have our shoes on. I'm actually going to take
I whipped my Jeffrey socks out today.
Yeah.
What, the one
I don't-
time I wear shoes,
I don't
you
wear
guys go barefoot?
I don't wear these anymore because they're getting holes and I'm sad.
Yeah.
I
I know
love
I can
that.
order new ones, but like these are my OG Jeffrey socks.
have
Yeah, I have a Phyllis and a Frank.
Yeah.
The clinic used
I know.
to. We don't do it anymore, but on our birthdays, we would get a pair of socks with our pets' faces on it.
Mhm.
So that's a great way to lift up
Yeah.
morale.
I put these on this morning and I meant to put it in the suggestion box today, but I'm going to bring that back.
I know. That was
because I
great.
think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree. And if they only have one pet, just get them a new pair every
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
I agree. Bring it back. I'm Dr. Ashlyn Duckwell.
I'm Devin Fortune,
And I'm Courtney Allen.
and this is the Veterinary Roundtable.
And we are missing King. She ditched
Sad.
us for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Not the first time.
Rude.
Lame. Indiana's better, especially today. The weather's great.
You were never going to say that again. You don't mean that.
I don't. I've always wanted to get out, but I'm stuck. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Pits and peaks.
Let's take it away.
Um.
Courtney and I share the same peak.
Okay. Well, then I'll just go first, real quick here. My peak is it's night. It was beautiful out. Got to get outside, sit in the
Oh,
sunshine.
yeah, you had the day off. You had the day off.
Devin,
You
if you're
guys
not
enjoy it.
watching, is reaching to the back of a pillow. So I don't know what is happening. And my pit is okay. A couple episodes ago, I said, "Oh, I got to be going on a mom date with kids. We went to a coffee shop." Well, that said coffee shop got me and Helen sick.
What?
So all last week I
Oh.
was fighting a virus, and it's still lingering a little bit to where I'm like uncomfortable enough to
Yeah.
like not be
Oh.
excited throughout the day, but it's getting better, thankfully. So
Are the other people sick? that were
no,
with
the
you?
other family didn't get sick.
How do you know it
but
came from the coffee shop?
I don't. I'm
What?
just,
I was going to
I
say,
mean,
I'm just
Charles-
blaming it.
Charles was traveling, and it was just me and her.
you have a really weak immune system, I feel like.
Oh no, we like my family has immune
Yeah,
deficiency.
it's a known thing.
Oh,
like
it's
it's an
very
actual
known.
diagnosis.
I did not know that.
I didn't have it. Mostly my siblings and my parents. I was the one with the healthiest, ironically.
Sick a
Wow.
lot.
I feel like you're sick more than you're not sick.
Yeah, that's correct.
Helen's been sick more of her life than
Like legitimately,
Poor girl.
I have asked to get Helen tested because it's just
Is
so.
there anything you can do about it?
Yeah, my brother gets infusions to boost his immune system
Huh.
every week or 2 weeks.
Oh, wow, that's frequent.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a thing. I'm not faking it. It's okay. It's
She
just
didn't have a
reality.
diagnosis. I'll diagnose you.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, my parents always said, you know why my immune system's so strong? They let me lick the Walmart floor when I was little.
Oh, gross.
Or just go to
I don't know if they
playgrounds.
actually did. They might have. I don't know.
If you don't have one
It was a
there,
different
though.
time then.
If you don't have an immune system, that's really not gonna
Yeah,
help.
yeah, you're right.
I think I was young enough when I was spending most of my life in a barn that my immune system's pretty strong.
There you
Yeah.
go. You know, just touch things,
Helen
people.
will be fine when she's older. Just
Yeah,
keep
she'll
her,
be great.
keep her in the barn.
She's fine. Yeah.
You stay out here tonight.
She now has barn gym shoes and normal
Aw.
shoes because she would wear barn gym shoes and then go like to daycare and stuff. I
oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
we shouldn't do
She
this.
doesn't live in a barn. She just really likes to hang out in there.
funny.
Is that poop on her? Yes, but it's okay.
What kind of poop? Duck. But it's fine.
No,
Ew.
definitely not the duck. She's
Just
nowhere
kidding.
near those
Disgusting.
bees. Fireball turns 5 this year. She's already 5 this month.
Who?
Fireball.
That's crazy.
One of my ducks.
She
Well,
ain't never going to die.
She ain't going to die.
The
She's,
things that girl has
That's
survived,
a long life for a
she
duck.
has seen a lot.
all odds have literally been against her.
That could be in the trenches story if we don't have any one time. Talk about
That's so
each-
smart.
each
We need to.
massacre.
Jot that down.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
crazy. Yeah, go Fireball. If you didn't get that, she's a duck.
Mhm. Mhm. Named by my nephews.
Okay, should we do our peaks first, Devin?
Sure.
Whip
do you
it
want me to
out.
start
What you
with
got
my-
hiding over there?
Go with your pit.
My pit? Okay.
Yeah.
My pit is, I think every time I say this, I sound like I feel very like privileged and kind of bratty, but I've always had leased cars. Okay. So when I first got my driver's license, my parents surprised me. I know.
About it.
With a leased Civic, a Honda Civic. It was brand new. The reason being, he didn't want a teenager to have to deal with a whole bunch of car issues, blah, blah, blah. It was covered because
Yeah.
teenagers are stupid. Anyway, so then I traded that car in. I got another lease.
Yeah.
And then I decided not to buy that car. And so I bought my next car with all cash. So I own my car currently.
Okay.
It's a 2013 Honda Pilot.
Yeah.
Love my car. Well, he's having some issues.
Oh no.
My father-in-law is a mechanic, so usually he handles most things, but I have to take it to Honda for this problem.
Oh no.
So it's gonna a couple $100, but it's worth it because
What is
I
it? Do
own
we
the
know?
car. My transmission.
Oh no.
So the fluid is just needed to be changed a long time ago, and we didn't know that because we thought it was changed when I bought it, but it wasn't. So hopefully it'll fix the problem because my car shudders.
Oh, no.
So I'll be driving and the steering wheel's like it feels like I'm going
Nice.
over like really, really, really rough
Like
pavement.
gravel, yeah.
Like the whole
Yeah.
car just shakes because the transmission has nothing to run on.
Yeah.
Right.
So I got to do that this weekend on
Yeah.
top of taking my husband's truck to get an oil change.
Oh,
You could do
yes.
it Thursday.
No, I can't. They
No.
don't have appointments. So I got to get that figured out. And then there's a couple other leaks, but my father-in-law can fix those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like new territory because when
Yeah.
you have a new car, you don't really have to worry about anything except oil changes.
Yeah.
But then having a used car, you got to put a little bit more
Adulthood.
money into it, but it'll last me a long time, hopefully, because it's taken care of. So,
Yep.
Just kind of annoying
Yeah.
more than anything.
Yeah.
Car problems are just annoying.
Because it just adds to your schedule on a
Yep.
weekend. You don't want to, and then you have to spend money to add to your
Mhm.
schedule. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate dealing with it.
Yeah. And wintertime's slow for my husband's job.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah.
more money, more problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
More cars, it sounds like. More
That's true.
problems.
Yes, that's true. It's fine. It'll get fixed, hopefully. And that'll just everybody say a prayer that after it gets fixed, I don't have to change my transmission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so
That
That
goes
would
in cheap.
be.
Well, if you get stuck on the side of the road, you can call me.
okay, great.
Okay.
Or me.
Just
Yeah,
don't be on
I'll
a road
call
trip because I'm not
somebody.
going to get you.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay.
Okay. My pit, I will shed a little bit of light on.
Just waiting for her to pull out.
It's really not that
Was
exciting.
it the jerky
It's
stick?
not.
No.
What?
I saw jerky sticks over there, and I saw you point to
No.
Courtney like.
Let me talk about my
Okay,
pit.
sorry.
The audacity. I'm shedding a little bit of light to the case that Courtney discussed last week. It was the cat that suffered a lot of things and ended up passing. But I was rather close to the family. That kitty was honestly like my first loyal and like long-term pet sitting client. Met them a couple years back when she was just a kitten, and the past 3 summers I've pet sat her for 2 months at a time while the family travels across the world. So I was I was close to her, close to the family. Like, it was just a nice relationship. So that, of course, hit me hard. But they elected to cremate the kitten. And she returned today, and they were back with their other cat to get her checked up after everything that went down. So I had the privilege of returning her to the family. But
full circle.
it was just sad. We talked about how the whole family was doing. They have 2 sons, how the other cat is doing. So it was nice, but it's difficult because, like, I could tell the mom was grieving one way. Like, she wanted to talk about it, and then the dad didn't want to talk about it, and he just looked so sad. And, like, the children are grieving differently, and it's just, it was sad. But
the cat's grieving.
Yeah.
It's hard when, I mean, grief hits you so many different ways.
Yeah. It is fascinating, though, to see, like, how they're all grieving so differently. But
I'm sure they appreciate you showing care and compassion and being like, hey, your cat touched my life too, and you guys did. So
and I was there that day when that happened, so I saw them then, and we hugged it out. But they said that they're doing okay, but they're talking about getting a kitten because their other cat is so, like, she's so active.
Yeah.
And she needs a friend. And when they go to Turkey this summer, she's going to be all alone.
Yeah.
So, like, she's going to need a friend for that.
Yeah.
Like, so you'll have a ragdoll kitten.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have British short hair and British long hair. The British short hair is the one that passed.
Oh, okay.
It was heart failure.
Oh.
At 3 years old.
It was an intense day for everybody involved.
Well, I saw, like, the recap of it and stuff like that, but I wasn't there when it happened. So.
Yeah. But it was just nice to
cats, man.
reconnect with them.
They're little tickers. They're just ticking away. You never know.
Silent sufferers.
Yeah. Okay, well, get on to this peak. I'm waiting in anticipation.
Well, clearly it's not that big of a peak.
So we both had a really long day.
Okay.
And we were talking about it, and I'm like, so I come straight from work to the podcast on Tuesdays now.
Yeah.
And so then I get home, and I don't want to eat dinner because it's so late.
Yeah.
And so our lead came to me, and she was like, you guys want a snack for the podcast? And we're like, yeah, because I had popcorn, and that's not a substantial meal, according to Amber.
Actually, I feel like I should share what I was doing. I was doing aftercare on a patient.
Oh, sure.
And it was a bulldog, and I was trying to do a nose print, and you can imagine how that was going.
Oh, yeah.
So I called Courtney. I'm like, hey, what you doing? So I had her come and give her opinion on my nose prints that I'd had, and she was eating her popcorn. And then
I left that out.
And then
Sanitary.
back to there's a computer overheating or something.
Take cover!
Blow up.
And then go back to
And then
Courtney.
Amber asked if we wanted beef stick. And we said yeah. So we brought our beef sticks to the beef stick. It's not a jerky stick.
Oh.
So we both are now going to enjoy our beef
But
sticks.
beef sticks are like my favorite snack.
I don't.
Who doesn't love a good beef stick?
Clearly Duckwall.
I have so many comments I
open
just
it.
wanted to make.
Really struggling to open it.
The Office joke that Michael always says, that's really what I wanted to say. But
Oh, I don't want
What
that.
joke?
I know. I can't. That's what she said. That's what I wanted to say. I mean,
It just all got stuck in my permanent
I
retainer.
don't mind them, but I don't like looking at them. Like, they just look like, if you think about it too much, it's just
I'm gonna be
like,
completely honest.
like
the Jack
hot
Lynch
dogs.
ones are better.
Oh, yeah.
I'll eat a hot dog, but I don't want to think about
There's
it.
like
Oh, no. Yeah, don't know. Because you will vomit.
yeah.
there's like no seasoning on it.
Yeah, I like the other one better. I think this is because it's healthier.
There's
Oh.
zero sugar.
Zero sugary.
That's
Or I'll stick without the ick. That's what I said.
Well,
well,
supposed to be a dirty joke.
It literally says it on the back of
so many jokes with a beef stick because its name is a beef stick. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you guys enjoy
Anyway,
Wow,
those.
there's another one.
Yeah, do you want to...
There's the one above it.
Say it out loud.
I don't know. It's just funny.
Grass-fed and finished beef.
Hmm.
How is that funny?
I don't know. If you have a dirty mind, never mind. Continue. Okay.
I think I get where you're coming from, but
Tales from the trenches.
Yeah,
do you want to read
You
it,
guys-
Duckwall, so we can eat our beef
you eat
stick?
your beef sticks. Just, I'm not gonna look at it. I'm gonna go like this. Okay, this is our new section, Tales from the Trenches. We have our first entry, so thank you. Can't wait to see what it says. I did not read ahead. Did you guys read ahead?
I didn't
No.
read this one.
Okay, ooh, okay. Hello, VRT. I heard about your new segment and mentioned it to my husband, and he said I had to share his favorite story from my last job. I worked in a shelter that did high volume spay neuter. One patient we had was a young Chi mix named Princess, who came in wearing a glittery pink collar. On exam, she looked like a normal, healthy female with a rather large vulva. When we started her surgery, however, we couldn't locate her uterus. After exploring a bit, the doctor found what appeared to be internal testes in the inguinal region. These were sent off for biopsy and turned out to be ovotestes. Princess was intersex.
Wow. Of course, its name was Princess.
I know, right?
Not a what's the word I'm looking for? Monotone.
She set
name
that up right
whatsoever.
with the pink collar and everything
uh-huh.
too. The comedy started when we needed to reach out to the owner to let them know what was happening. The owner was a Spanish speaker, and none of our Spanish-speaking employees wanted to call and tell them that their dog was intersex. We scrambled around the building and finally found one of our lovely kennel staff who was willing to call the owner. Fortunately, the owner thought this was absolutely hilarious and told our staff that they had always wondered why Princess lifted her leg like a boy dog. Anyways, I just wanted to share. We did that about 8,000 spay neuters a year and found about one intersex animal a year, so it always stood out. Thanks for your fantastic podcast. Kathy Watson, RVT.
We have had that happen at our clinic.
Just the one, right?
I've never experienced it.
I think we've only had one.
Yeah, it was a bloodhound.
That I can remember. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And we sent him out for biopsy and everything.
And it came back as ovotestes?
Yep.
Yeah. So they're out there.
I think Harrison posted something on the All-Star page because we read the histopath of it or something.
Okay.
I feel like he documented it at some point.
Oh, okay.
Would you say it's that way more so than like you go in for a neuter and you find a uterus?
Yeah, because you really don't go internal.
I guess that's true.
The only thing I would thinking through, I really don't know the science, but like how this happens and whatever. Anyways, like the only thing I could think is like if it's a male, like externally you see the penis, the prepuce, but they're a cryptorchid or double cryptorchid, and then when you go in, you're like, wait, these aren't normal testes?
Yeah.
Huh. That would be the only, I mean, because otherwise you're not going in the abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I wonder.
I'm sure, I feel like it'd be more common for it to happen this way than the opposite way.
I would agree.
Especially because of the external genitalia, I think. So.
Yeah. I would think so.
I don't know. Great story, though.
That's a good story. Thank you for your submission because that was a nice little laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, it's good the owners thought it was hilarious. I mean, what can you do? You can't be mad at it.
Right.
So.
The owner we had was
I think I'd be willing
awesome
to make the
about
call.
it.
Yeah. Nobody's fault.
Yeah.
Right?
Just genetics.
We're not lying. Okay. If you have more ridiculous, funny, unhinged stories that you want us to read off on our podcast, please send in your stories to theveterinaryroundtable@gmail.com.
Yes, I've thoroughly enjoyed that.
We try to share our unhinged stories, but it's funnier when we hear it from other people. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Case collections.
Okay, we're gonna start with Freya. She is a 1
year.
1-year-old ish. Great Dane. She presented to our hospital for a routine spay and gastropexy. So the surgery was performed without a hitch, to my knowledge. It was with one of our colleagues, and the next day she was in hospital longer just because she didn't show interest in eating.
Blood work was normal prior to the surgery.
Blood work was normal. Okay. And she was a Great Dane. She was a smaller Great Dane, but she was still a large breed, and hence the gastropexy included. But anyway, yeah. So the next day she didn't really show interest in eating, but the incision, everything had looked good that morning from the surgeon. So she stayed throughout the day just for observation, thankfully, because it was towards the afternoon when myself and Courtney were in treatment area doing an exam on a dog, and Courtney kept saying, Freya, stop licking. What are you licking? And we just thought it was, she was trying to go towards her incision, even though she had a surgery suit on. And then she kept doing it. And so our other assistant went up and she's like, oh, there's a little bit of blood. And then you could eventually, like with us looking, you could see the blood from like her mouth too. Mm-hmm. So we were like, oh, did she bite her tongue? Like what happened here? So Freya we got her out to do another look. And unfortunately, you could tell there was swelling subcutaneously along her incision. And it wasn't just like small blood. It was a pretty steady like faucet drip coming out. And then she did have blood in her mouth, but once we looked in there, it looked like she truly just had a lesion on her tongue. She had bitten her tongue. So this day was quite crazy in general at the hospital with emergency surgeries and low staff. That the surgeon for Freya had to leave early that day due to personal reasons. So it was just kind of like
all hands on
it was
deck.
a cluster for the day anyways.
Yeah.
And so this was going to be the third emergency surgery.
Yes.
So we had basically all the doctors who were there come together. We pulled the ultrasound and she had free fluid in her abdomen. So when you have that, obviously you have to go in and you have to figure out what's bleeding and ligate it.
Yep.
So between the 4 of us that were there, Dr. Ham was the doctor who went in then, and she was able to find the bleeder. She said that obviously it's a large dog. So thankfully she could afford to lose blood. Not that you want them to, because she was still pink on observation and she was alert, bright, everything. Her PCV-TP was normal prior to the second surgery. She said, Dr. Ham said that all of the incisions and the sutures from the gastropexy and the spay were intact.
Yep.
Everything looked great. But what was weird, she said, was that there was this vessel or bleeder that was near the uterine pedicle that was like deeper down. So it was just one of those unfortunate complicated things that happen, or complication things that happen to nobody's fault. Like, this is a good case where it's like this surgery was done.
VPA would not be.
Yeah. Like this surgery was done completely fine.
Yes.
And it was the monitoring and the observation of the staff, and like the doctor who did everything was like, she's not eating, let's just keep her. Like, all of those things that just showed, like, even though it's routine surgeries, you still have to take it as each individual case. And if it's not responding as expected, you don't just overlook it and say, it's probably nothing. And then having staff in the back, like, monitoring constantly, not just saying they're being monitored. And thankfully, the dog did great. It was a Friday, of course, but we were able to perform the surgery, and she went to 24-hour care for observation, went home the next day.
And she's doing great.
She's doing great.
She came back again, and
Yeah.
she was doing really, really well.
She was just not pooping as much or
Yeah.
something, but she looked fine. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it was just an unfortunate, like,
Complication.
yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the only way you can explain it.
Yeah.
It's like, there's going to be, like, we just don't ever, I mean, like you said, spays are routine, but it's still a full abdominal procedure. Like, I feel like sometimes we can tend to forget that we're still going into the abdominal cavities. I mean, you do spay so often that you're like, okay, it's a spay, whatever.
Right.
Like, it's not like a foreign body. It's not a cystotomy. Like, it's just whatever. It's just an easy surgery. But, I mean, it's still a spay. Like, it's a full abdominal procedure. So I think it was also a good reminder that it's more intense than I think we, like, have in our brains all the time.
Well,
not that we were careless about it by any means,
no.
but,
Sure, but
you
bigger
just get
dogs
in that
have
mindset.
bigger vessels and, like,
it's a nice eye opener.
yeah. So I think just if you're going into a spay, just whoever's prepping the owner, just say, hey, these are the complications of a spay.
Yep.
Period. It just can happen.
Yep.
Obviously, we do our best to make sure it doesn't. And usually it doesn't. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, she recovered very, very well.
yeah.
Yes, she came in, I think, on Monday and was like wagging her tail and everything.
Yeah.
The observation saved her life.
Yes.
Yeah. Good thing she didn't go home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So did she stay the night after her surgery, or she came back in the next day? Okay.
No, she stayed the night.
She
just because she was a large,
from her initial surgery?
Yeah.
she was a large dog, and
Sure.
Yeah. And then we took her to an ER. Me and a coworker drove her to an emergency clinic for the owners.
yeah.
The
Because she
next
was
night.
still pretty gorked from surgery. She was just out of it. So my coworker and I offered to the owners for us to drive her, so they wouldn't have to. I mean, I don't think anybody really wants to see their dog that
Well, she was
drugged,
big too.
and she was a big
transferring her.
Yeah, we literally put her on a stretcher
Yeah.
and lifted her, and she barely fit in my car diagonally.
Yeah.
And the owner was there, and we met her there, and I think they were grateful. It was just a lot for them to handle emotionally. So,
Oh, yeah.
But I know, I mean, they were grateful at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, she was all taken care of, and I had a little taxi for her.
She's so cute. She's so sweet.
Yeah, she's
Mhm.
cute, and she's so sweet.
Isn't she like kind of grayish?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
I
a
was like,
little
is she a
timid,
Weimar
but
runner or is she a Great Dane?
She looks like a very overgrown Weimaraner.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Okay. Well, that's our case. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's just good lessons all around.
Yes.
For sure.
Take it away.
Hey, listener question.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go for it. I was pausing.
Excuse me.
Have a moment.
Okay, for the listener question, anything else, use our text message feature for the podcast. So what you'll do is you'll tap on the episode and whatever podcast provider you'd like. I'm going to assume Spotify. So that seems like the popular one. You look at the top where it says send us an inquiry through a text message here. You'll click that link and then you can text us. If you would like a shout out when we read it, you do have to include your name. Otherwise, it comes through as anonymous.
Yeah, do we still get these a lot, Harrison?
It looks like
Is it used pretty often?
there's a lot of them.
Oh, I guess there's a lot
Is
of
that
listener
where all
questions.
these come from?
Oh, fun. Some people
we
know
have,
about
we
it.
have plenty.
Good to know.
Alrighty. First one. Hello, I am a prospective veterinary technician in the New England area. One thing to note about this region is every state besides Maine is a no license required state to practice, and the vast majority of job posting say experience required, license preferred. I shadowed at a small animal general practice on Tuesday where none of the staff besides the DVMs had licenses. I want to be a critical care / emergency tech at a mixed practice, somewhere where you can be at a puppy well visit and be called away to scrub into a reconstructive surgery for a pet turtle who got bitten by a dog. Would you recommend schooling for something like this? Is pen foster plus 1 to 2 years in small animals GP a good combo for someone who wants to work as a surgical tech at a 24/7 mixed GP and emergency clinic? We do have somewhere in the area like that, and they also include specialists in the same building, but most of their job postings are for degree holders or people with 5 to 10 years experience in GP. I was originally planning on going into wildlife biology, but I did not think I could tolerate potentially being unemployed for entire seasons, as wildlife biology has a lot of temporary roles. But I do have training coming up to learn to be a wildlife rehabilitator in a month, so I hope I learn some skills at that training that can translate over to mixed veterinary medicine. I love the show even though I just found it. I plan to watch all the episodes in order after I watch all the ones with interesting titles. Do we know what was wrong with neighbor Ben's puppy who landed badly and likely luxated their patella? From Cassandra, a future vet tech from New England.
We do know, but we'll come back to that.
Damn, New England. That's pretty cool. Okay. Wow.
Thank you for
Listening, finding us,
everything.
going back
Welcome
through.
to the Vert.
Don't judge our the editing or the scenery in the early days.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We were just trying to figure it out.
Outdated.
We were doing our best with what we had,
We were just talking.
but we have evolved.
We have.
Okay.
Yeah, the first question.
First question.
Would you recommend schooling for something basically to be involved in everything? Mixed
Yeah.
practice, ER.
I don't think schooling ever hurts.
I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be good to get like a good basis because
Yeah.
we learn about many species.
Mhm.
We learn about all the species.
Yeah. I think you would be more comfortable as well in your job when you have that baseline knowledge,
Yes.
just because if you are interested in truly doing everything, then it's really going to come in handy to have like that book knowledge or clinical whatever through school knowledge, because it's really hard through just experience alone to be able to focus all your time on each individual thing
Yes.
that you want to know. Like we have exotics at our practice, but we have one designated tech for it. It would be really difficult for Devin or Courtney to be like, all right, I'm going to do a dog and cat, treatment over here, but they need me for a bunny, which is completely different.
Yeah.
And just learning that, it would be a lot slower pace.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and you also couldn't learn things until you see them physically, and not
Yes.
everything comes along until it does, and then
Mhm.
And then
it might only happen once.
Yeah,
Or-
multiple.
Yeah. So I always think schooling is a great idea if you have the time.
Yeah.
Finances are difficult too, so
Yep.
but I think it's a great idea.
An emergency, you think on your feet. So it's just, it's again going to be better to have that kind of input of knowledge you can pull
Yeah.
from if it's like really
I think
chaotic.
emergency would be a little bit very difficult actually to learn on the job because it's so
Yeah.
fast paced, and you have to. I mean, you can't sit and be
Yeah.
like, "Hold on, let me look this up," or
No,
"Do you know how to do
absolutely.
this?" Like you just got to
Yeah.
jump in and do it.
Yeah.
You don't really have time to think sometimes.
Next question is pen foster plus 1 to 2 years in small animal GP a good combo for someone who wants to work as a surgical tech at a 24/7 mixed GP and emergency clinic? I think if those 1 to 2 years are spent like strictly in surgery, maybe like it might be a good starting point.
Mhm.
But I am almost done with Penn Foster, and I've been working at All Star for almost 3 years, and I would not be.
Comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a good comparison.
Mm-hmm.
But also only like a year of that has been teching, so.
Right. I mean, but it still comes back to it would be better to get the experience in what you're going to try to do with your career.
Right.
So can you do Penn Foster plus a couple years in mixed animal and not do the emergency part yet or something?
Yeah.
Or 1 to 2 years in emergency with Penn Foster, just because that's more of what you're looking and seeking for.
Mm-hmm.
I would worry that if you just did small animal GP, you're going to get really good at things that you'll use, but it's just going to be it's very different.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
Or it might even be nice to work like 1 or 2 emergency shifts a week.
Yeah.
Like shorter
Just
shifts.
to dip your toe in.
Ease into it.
Yeah.
And then at some point, go full immersion. But
Yeah.
That might be a lot all at once.
I mean, it also probably depends on what is offered. I mean, if you can't do any of these combos.
Somewhere in the area like that. Does that mean like it's a GP and emergency in the same building?
I think she wants to be a critical care emergency tech at a mixed practice. Okay.
She said she wants to be able to do a puppy, but then also have to go into an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
But like have that regular, because like us, we're a GP. We see emergencies, but they're not guaranteed.
Right.
Do we know of any GPs that are emergencies also?
Technically we are.
Yeah,
just
but
through
like
our
It's just
hours.
not guaranteed.
Well, that's why it's just such different medicine. A lot of
Mhm.
emergencies are more of like stabilize, triage,
Mm-hmm.
get them stable
Boot
or
'em.
whatever, and then send them on
Mhm.
to their GP or whoever. So, and then in GP, you just learn a lot of different ways to communicate and the relationships, which is
Mhm.
very different from emergency. So,
It would be interesting to see a clinic that was a GP and then was 24/7.
We did that for a little bit.
for during COVID.
We had emergency hours during COVID.
yeah, it was a weird time.
And then there's
King and I worked an emergency shift together. And I think, was it Holden? It was you? He brought us food really late at night. But King and I literally sat in the doctor's office and watched Netflix for like 5 hours. And we're like, we're going home.
Yeah.
Because nobody called.
Yeah. I think I
says-
had a couple, but it was a nail trim and ears or something.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I worked there during COVID.
I
It's a weird
liked
time.
some aspects of it, but then I disliked other aspects of it.
During the week was crazy.
Yeah. I wish we would have kept the puppy tally.
Yeah.
The amount of puppies we saw.
Oh
we
my
had
gosh.
a tally going in reception.
That was
bet.
It was
wild.
insane.
That was wild. That was just all of it was just crazy. The way
yeah.
we moved the treatment up to where the conference
table
table
is.
is, like
I've seen
Everybody,
some
that's when
pictures.
everyone in the clinic learned how to restrain. That's where Becca Miller learned how to restrain.
Yeah.
She would literally be on the phone and hold a dog for me.
it was just so weird.
We
We did
a
it,
week
though.
on, a week
Good-
off.
Yeah,
Good
I've heard
times.
some
Yeah.
things.
Kind of.
But they have specialists in the same building. Like that's a lot in one building.
That's a big building.
Anyhow, yeah.
I do know there's a clinic on the south side of Indy that it's called Stop 11, I think, but it is attached to, it has some specialists. Yeah, because I externed there in school, so I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. Might have changed.
Might not even be there.
Might be incorrect information. So sorry.
Does that answer all of her questions?
And well,
Ben's
neighbor's
puppy.
puppy.
Yes.
Yeah. So he ended up coming in the next day for
Mhm.
x-rays, and that poor pup had a fracture. It was, oh my gosh, what is the word?
A
I'm looking for?
fracture.
It wasn't rotated. It was just a hairline or whatever. It wasn't, it wasn't turned. It wasn't, anyway, it was a straight line fracture through the tibia. It was a tibia. It didn't go cortex to cortex, so there was no like surgery needed. There was no displacement, things like that. So we had to bandage him, and we did 2 weeks of bandaging with strict rest. I mean, ultimately it takes 8 weeks for it to heal. We never ended up repeating x-rays, and I mean, I'm their neighbor. I know, and we're friends. So I know that keeping him quiet was very, very difficult. But I see him now, and he's walking on all 4 legs. So
Okay, great.
That's
That
great.
matters.
yeah, he seems to be doing just fine.
Yeah.
Puppies heal quickly too. So
Mhm.
Okay. Next one.
Okay.
Would you like to read it?
My uncle and cousin are starting a show cattle business, and they are doing AI to impregnate some of their heifers. I know you guys don't do large animals, but I'm curious to know what you all think about AI and would you recommend it to clients? From Molly Francis.
Yes.
I think that's like the easiest and
standard.
safest way to do it.
Yep. And
it's
unless
really
you're in
not-
Kentucky.
It's not that difficult.
No.
Like, you just give the mare a small amount of sedation and then inseminate and boom.
Yep. We got to practice it, not actual insemination, but we practiced it in vet school. But yeah, that's pretty much the standard because you can also control, obviously you're looking at the mare's cycle and for follicles and you have more control over that situation too. Whereas if you don't have a stallion on property and safety wise, I mean.
You don't have to deal with the aggression.
Yeah. But in Kentucky, especially in like the racing world and all that stuff, it has to be live cover. So I did an externship down in Kentucky through vet school and went to these huge, beautiful farms, and they literally would have like scheduled, they would have to schedule the mare, they would have the stallion, you look at the sperm of the stallion, that's what one of the vets did, and then they would live cover it. And I mean, it's literally like if you think of a rodeo and those basically rodeo clowns that remove people quickly and stuff. Same thing with these horses. They're geared up, and as soon as the live cover is done, you separate them and keep going.
Yeah.
But like you have to obviously in that situation you pay for the stallion fee, and it's a
pricey.
whole different world down
Yeah.
there. It's wild.
I can't imagine.
It's wild. It's crazy to see. It's so cool. I love
that would be fun to witness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot at stake in those situations. I got to meet American Pharaoh.
Oh.
So that was really cool. I got a picture with him.
That is cool.
Yeah. Popular celebrity horse. If you don't know who he is, anybody, then you should Google American Pharaoh.
Aw,
He was beautiful.
I bet. Do you want to read the next one?
Sure. Okay, next one. Hey, I recently got into Auburn Vet School, my in-state, whoop whoop, but wanted to say how grateful I am for this podcast, and I actually got to speak about this podcast during my interview.
Wow.
I just thought you would find this cool, and I think it helped me get in. I recommended my interviewers to listen to the VPA episode since they were a little unfamiliar with the topic. Super great experience, and I know y'all are doing great work.
That's so
Sadly.
cool.
Thank you. Congratulations,
cool.
first of all, on getting into vet school
Well
because
done.
that is not for the weak.
That's
so
incredible. And to Auburn,
good
that's
freaking
where
job.
Candace was, I think.
Yeah.
I-
Did you meet
I-
King-a-ling-a-ding?
I highly doubt that saying she listens to this podcast helped her get in, but we'll take the
Maybe
credit.
she sounds
She sounds like a dedicated
Educated.
student.
She cares.
Yeah.
about
Dedicated,
learning and
educated.
Learned
her
things.
education. And
I would love to know how the context got brought up.
Yeah.
Like what
Yes.
question, and I mean they
or
throw
like
some
maybe
weird
it's like an
questions.
extracurricular or
Yeah.
Huh.
But she encouraged them to watch VPA.
yeah.
That's really cool too.
Get the
Thank
word
you,
out. That's what we're
Hadley.
here for, is to spread the news.
Having some good convos, which by the way, we have some guests lined up coming up.
We
so
do.
we're
Keep
working
an
on
eye out
it.
for that.
We sure do.
We'll add some spice in there soon. Okay. Just a little sprinkle.
A little vert spice.
Well, all right.
Ooh.
Guess that's it.
All right, take us out.
Okay. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Veterinary Roundtable. Remember, send in those questions and leave us a review if you enjoyed this episode or previous one. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Veterinary Roundtable.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.